Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode. Our podcast helping B2B high-ticket service providers one lesson at a time. As you know by now, we work really hard to find the best B2B experts out there from around the world. If it was from Macedonia, it would be me and few friends, but since we're looking internationally, I really have to look really hard. But on the other hand, whenever we find a really good person to talk about, I'm so excited. And today I'm really excited because I have Tom on the line. Tom, calling from Brazil, from what I can see on your title. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. Okay. And it's a great pleasure from far away to be so close.
Yeah, we're like the globe. Macedonia, Brazil is probably just on the other side. So if I start digging down, I'll probably find you.
You'll find me.
I assume it's morning your end because here is 4 p.m. already.
Yeah, well, we just passed 12 noon. Just getting ready for lunch. So this is my full dish today.
Nice. Well, Tom, for the people that not had the opportunity to meet you before, because I was actually being part of your podcast last week, I think. So maybe you could give a bit about your origin story, who you are and what you do, so people will get the perspective. So when we talk about, they would know your background.
Okay, well, very quickly, because I've been in Brazil for 50 years, so that's a lot of time.
Nice.
I first came here through persons that I knew who were here on an exchange program, so that's what really brought me here. And one of those persons invited me to teach at a university here. Mm-hmm. That really never happened, but being here, being involved in another country, another culture, because I am an American. I was in the States. I had never traveled before. I had never been out of the country.
Wow.
But I do consider, I was born in Pittsburgh, and my neighborhood where I lived, I want to consider it a multicultural neighborhood. So a lot of immigrants who came to the area. Pittsburgh was called the Steel City. So it was in that I did have many friends from different nationalities.
I see.
But I've never been anywhere. So coming here, that opened up the cultural shock. But it was through people and then understanding the language and the culture that I started meeting people. They found out what I actually could do, started working with a company, worked for a Danish company, then a Dutch company, then an American company, Brazilian company. Nice. And one thing always led to another. Most of my professional life has been on product development and market development. And through that, I'm part of many different business associations here, like the American Chamber of Commerce, another group called Vistage, which is a CEO peer group. So this has been my evolution. And what I say, we talk about networking, everything for me has always happened through people. And the fact that we met and I'm here talking to you and to your public and to the world, that happens constantly. So when you say one lesson at a time, for me, my life has always been just one lesson, and it's an ongoing lesson. So I just never turned the page, just keep going.
How did you adjust the heat from Brazil? I mean, it's warm and its humidity is quite different.
Well, in Pittsburgh was cold. And I want to say one of the things I didn't miss coming here was snow. And I did appreciate the 4 seasons, because obviously when you have seasons and a change, that's good. Yeah. And from a marketing aspect, you understand the influence of weather in business. Here in Brazil, obviously it's sunny, it's generally warm, no snow, but a lot of sunshine. So sunshine is highly invigorating. People are more happy. They seem to be happy because of that. And we see that in other countries. So that's learning. It's learning to adjust. And we need to learn to love where we are. We can't forget where we've been. And then we never know where we're going to go. But where you are, you have to appreciate that.
Yeah. And Tom, on the other hand, you also said that you host several podcasts. If you could share with us the names and what they are about.
Yeah, well, the first actually started as an internet radio program, and that's called Talk to Brazil. And I created Talk to Brazil as an internet radio program in 2009. And if our listeners remember, in 2009 was the Great Recession, where worldwide business came to a halt. And at that time, I had a consultancy. I was trying to attract persons and businesses to come to Brazil. As a consultant, that came to a standstill. But one of the things I noted through my travel, first of all, most Brazilians don't speak English. So there's very little English language content available. And for persons like you are an international person, even at that time, you would go through Google to find, business development in Brazil, business development China, Russia, or Africa, or Mexico. And you would get some answers in English. But for Brazil, what would come back would be answers in Portuguese. And that's not the way to grow. What would come back were what I would call the 5 S's. And what were those 5 S's in English? It was sun, sin, sex, samba, and soccer.
Those are nice.
Those were the things that Brazil was known for. A lot of sun, the samba, obviously, football, Pelé, all of that. But I would try, and that was my charge, to try to sell Brazilian products or sell the market. Most people, I'm saying Europeans or Asians, even Americans, say, well, we have a company or a factory in Brazil that can make this. Most people wouldn't believe it because they didn't think Brazil was a business environment.
Production capacity.
Yeah, it was good. It was, to go to the beach, to go on vacation, a lot of sunshine. But for business, that wasn't. So I had to generate that. So I created Talk to Brazil to generate content in English. Mm-hmm. And then I created the second one, which is BBN Brazil Business Network. That Brazil is written with an S. And those interviews are in Portuguese. So again, since most Brazilians don't speak English, I have to interview in Portuguese. And the third is Cafe Networking, which is either Portuguese or English, very short pitch related type podcast where let people talk for 5 to 7 minutes to sell either their product, their service, their book, whatever, to help people learn to be objective and have a pitch.
Nice. You said the first podcast you did was 2007?
2009, and started as an internet radio program.
That's that like time, 13 years
out of Los Angeles, yeah. But I changed it a little more than 2 years ago to a podcast format. When the podcasting, as you know now, because we're talking that way, gave us the ability to be our own boss and to create our own program.
That was my point. 13 years ago, there were not that many podcasts actually at all. So
at that time, podcasts in the past was basically music. Mm-hmm. The world knows of Spotify and iTunes, which was on Apple. They were music oriented. The content type podcast, which we both do, is maybe a little more than 3 or 4 years old. And that's when I changed and migrated to this format that you use, that I use. We can adjust our time. We can adjust how long it's going to be, who we want to talk to. It's a one-man show. Yeah, true. But from all 3 podcasts, you made a huge network because by talking with a lot of people from different fields, from different parts of the world, actually. And also you said as a consultant, your primary job was to find foreigners that are interested to either invest in Brazil or start their business in Brazil. So I think that you had quite a broad network. I even saw on your LinkedIn, it was like king of networking. So that by this time you already pick a country, I know a guy. You pick an industry, I know a guy. And that was actually the main point why I wanted to talk with you, Tom, was the networking, the power of networking. Why do you actually need it? And what's the impact? I mean, of course, everybody, business people are trying to do ROI, return of investment. Okay, if I invest in marketing, I'm going to get X, Y, Z. If I invest in networking, which is a bit less tangible, can you tell me a bit more on the value of the networking? Well, I'm a believer, and we talk a lot, you talk a lot about B2B. All right. Yeah. We've heard the B2B, B2C, and we think, and I've been in that B2B world. And I worked for the Danish, Dutch, Brazilian, American companies. I was Thomas, and my last name was always the name of the company. right? It was never Thomas Rioch or Tom Rioch. It was always Thomas Alcoa or Thomas Hunter Douglas or Thomas anything else. It was the company, right? And actually, we dress ourselves and we purvey ourselves as the company. We personify a company. You personify your company, right?
Yeah.
And that's natural. There's nothing wrong with that. But going back to when I got here and all of my life, even before coming, everything has happened to me in my life has been with people. Those people have worked for companies. If I take you, Dancho, as an example, you have worked for several companies in your life.
Yeah.
You have your own company today. Many companies that I know or even worked for, they've sold out, they bought somebody else, they've merged, they've changed, right? And that's constant. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but that's the way it is. But what I have tried to always do, and that's where the value of networking is relationship building.
Yeah.
And for me, that has to be the personal level. I want to follow Dancho wherever he goes. All right. As he grows, as he becomes a success, and he may be in company A, B, or C, or D, or E, or F. But if I don't follow him and have him follow me, 4 years from now, how can I get back in touch with you?
Yeah, true.
And that's basically what I try to do. I look at it from 2 points, a tactical way of networking and strategic. Strategic's long-term. Tactical is back to the old days when we would be going into a meeting before you had your coffee or a cocktail, and it's the face-to-face and shake the hand and pat on the back and exchange business cards. That's tactical because that's here and now. But wanting to establish an initial relationship with a person who could be with a company or not. And what I consider always is what I'm doing when I do that, and that could be virtual today, remotely, I'm creating another ally. And why do I need allies? Because I am a person, and you as a person, we're individuals, we're unique. I am an army of one, right?
Yeah.
Dancho is an army of one. To be an army of one, you need a lot of allies. And that for me is that tactically, I create, I maintain, and nurture the allies. If and when I need them, and I may never need them, but they may need me, and I have to be available. It's an open door policy. If you need me, I'm here. If I need something from you and I've nurtured that, you will always welcome me.
Yeah, true.
It's very simple. It's not complex.
Yeah, we have that target here, Tom, because in BizB, we're also based on relationship building. Our whole B2B outreach is start building relationship with people. It doesn't have to be a quick win. Maybe they don't have an immediate need of your services now, but after 6 months, things change. And guess who they will remember when they got that need? They'll be like, I know Dancho from BizB or Tom. Right. And then they can reach out to you. But that means that you need to have a good relationship, not the spammy kind of, hi, Tom, would you like to buy my services? No, thank you very much. Next one. Hi, Tom, would you like to buy? No, next, please. And then that's just...
Open up your coat, so I got this for you. Yeah.
And it's different when you build that relationship. And of course, it is a bit more investment long-term because you don't know whether they're going to call or whether you're going to call them if a need comes. But at the end of the day, that's the relationship building because maybe they don't even going to need your service, but then someone they know will need it and they can just recommend you. And that's the referral power that the bigger your network is, the more people indirectly can hear about you.
That's the secret of your book. Sweet leads.
Yeah.
A lead is just a lead. It's the first or second step. It's not the finish line.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Many people confuse the networking or the lead. They already want to get to the finish line. But in business, there's no finish line.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an ongoing process. And Tom, if I understood you right, on the tactical level is the people that you meet on a day-to-day basis where you're building the relationship, while on the strategic end is when you have a certain plan that you want to connect with several people. That's the outreach that we do, because we do it like pre-planned, like this is the target account base, even we call it. This is the type of people that we want to connect on the mid to long term. And then you're actually building a strategy, even trying to see, as you said, ally. That I really liked it, because you're trying to find a mutual friend that can meet you, or you can find a similar interest or a third party that could actually connect you even closer to the person.
Right. And it really goes both ways. If I take it to the strategic part, if anyone looks at my LinkedIn profile, which you have, you found me through LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Right. You were looking for something. I don't know what you were looking for, but whatever it was, you found me. And we met up and we talked, and I interviewed you, and we know each other. When you first connected to me, I really didn't know. I had to look up and see where Macedonia was.
Find us on the map, like.
No, but I did. And again, if we analyze history, and we're talking about companies changing, the world has countries changing.
Yeah.
So we have to go back to the history. We have to understand the culture. We have to understand why Macedonia is Macedonia in your case. In my case, one of my cases, if you look at my LinkedIn profile, you will see that my profile is in Mandarin. And then you're going to ask me, well, do you speak Chinese? No. But China has been one of the major investors worldwide, period. China as a country is a major client to agriculture, energy, many things. There are many Chinese companies in Brazil.
Nice.
Today. They're not just here today. They've been here for a while. Huge investments. Chinese, their culture is absolutely relationship-based, trust-based. And how do we attract them? So my profile on LinkedIn is in English, it's in Portuguese, and it's in Mandarin. So I need to be, I hope, and that's back to the strategy, all right? Tactically, I created that. China's interested. How can I help them find me? I have to be there in a way that they're looking.
True.
If they find me and see something, maybe that will, the next step, another ally, create a trust level, right? Mm-hmm. Today, you and I have created a trust level, which a month ago we didn't even exist.
Yeah, we didn't even know each other.
We didn't know each other.
And I'm curious, how do you know when is the time to move to the next stage of trust? It's like, in building a relationship, of course, the beginning is a bit chit-chatty because you don't know the guy, they don't know you, and you start with some general topics. And we have the joke, like you go in a bar and you meet a girl and you never propose her in the first sentence. You start some general topics about the weather, about sports. Okay, sports is a bad topic, but some general issues. And at some point you realize that, okay, you can share a story, they can share a story. So then you start building that relationship. And how do you actually know when it's the right time to actually deepen the relationship on a more deeper level?
First of all, you have to show that you are that you're trustworthy.
Yeah.
And again, what is today's way of doing that? And I'll use LinkedIn as that, but other things. If anybody finds me or is looking for Brazil or looking for networking in Brazil, it's a high probability that they'll find me. All right. They will not be looking for Tom Rioch. They will be looking for business development, relationship building, Brazil. Once they find me, what they find needs to be authentic, and it needs to be real. It can't be fake. Today we're surrounded by so much fake things.
Yeah, gurus.
Now, so if they find me, I have to be able, through all the multi-level, multimedia ways, they have to find the same Tom in different places. So Tom Rioch, that's now personal branding. We're going beyond networking. Tom Rioch has to be the same persona wherever I'm found. And that is, I can't make you be a trustworthy person, right, Dancho?
Yeah.
You have to show me that you are. What I need to do is to show others that I am. Have a validation. I can't say that I'm trustworthy. My mother would say, no, he's a great guy, but it's not the way it works. All right. We have to have evidence, real evidence support. That support, in my case, comes from associations that I'm part of, that have been part of for years, companies that I've worked for, things that I've done, successes, podcasts. All right. For somebody who's been communicating to the world about Brazil for as long as I have, I'll say that I've become a focal point. I've become a thought leader.
Yeah.
That didn't start overnight. That it's every day with a shovel, digging and building. It's brick by brick.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking now, I was just checking, Brazil population is like 212 million. So
Right.
if someone said, I want a foreigner to invest in Brazil, and if you show up on the top, that's like an achievement, a lifetime achievement, because if you became the focal point, the thought leader, whenever someone thinks about, I want to invest in Brazil, if the name Tom shows up among people, not on a search engine, but he's talking to someone, you know what, I need to invest some money in Brazil. And that guy should say, do you know Tom? I should connect you with him. He's the best guy for the job.
And that's why I'm known as the king of network. I didn't go out there and stand on the corner and say, I'm the king of network.
With a high banner.
Now, other people started referring to me here in Brazil, in Portuguese. They referred to me as the king of networking. They would introduce me to other persons as the king of networking. In Portuguese, o rei do networking. It started that way in one of the associations where I would teach people to network. That was one of the things. So I've traveled all of Brazil teaching institutions, associations, and people how to network. Because Brazilians also don't have that as a habit. So I says, you got to personal branding, you got to network, you got to go out, your pitch. These are things that I've been talking about for 30 years. So that's the authenticity. That's the consistency. And those things help build credibility. The only thing that we have, Dancho, you and I, what do I have? I have the computer that we're talking on. I have a microphone. But what we have, the two things, and we share those, is relationship and credibility.
Yeah.
That's it. And those two take a lifetime to build. And someone says maybe 4 minutes to destroy.
True.
So that's where we are. That's what you do. That's the essence of your company. Relationship build. And that could be for any company. So companies of success throughout the world, wherever they are, they depend on relationship building and credibility, period. Even a startup needs to have a way to promote and show credibility. That can be done in a number of ways.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that, you don't start.
Yeah, nobody would be willing to trust you with their money in order to start the business.
That's right.
Tom, I was just curious. I ask everybody on the podcast. I know that you have different hats with different expertise, but if you had to choose one message, like one thing that you want to be remembered for, it's like to your grandchildren or even after hundreds of years, did you knew Tom Rioch? They were like, what do you remember by him? And that question was, what do you actually want to be remembered for, your legacy?
Well, part of that exists. My grandchildren, the small one, he's like 10 years old. He already knows that I'm the king of networking. So if I ask him, who am I? I'm the king of networking. So, but seriously, the legacy comes from, maybe the word would be sharing. Tom Rioch is an open, authentic, sharing person. And what I would say, I'm an ally for others. If I'm looking for allies for myself, I need to be that ally for others.
Yeah. Nice. I always ask everybody this question because it's really the main purpose of what do you want to become or who you are. So it's not like I want to connect everybody, but I want to have allies. I want to help people. And that's the relationship comes on a second tier, and the network is like a byproduct of everything that you do.
Well, fortunately, I'm at a point in a stage in my life with two things, and I'll share with you in the public. I'm a breast cancer survivor. All right. And I've been over breast cancer for 12 years. And when you have breast cancer, the doctor told me two things. He says, first of all, the cure is in your head. That's right.
Wow.
The second, he said, just do from today on, just do what you like. And that's good for all of us. If you do what you like and you're happy with what you do it well. All right. So my pleasure does come from, and when I say relationship building, that's my day to day. It's through the podcast. It's through people that I meet. If I can help, it's my barber. That's my hair. So it doesn't have to be C-level presidents of whatever. It's people.
Yeah. Connecting with as many
people, helping people, and being open to share. All right. Many times we forget the sharing part. When we're younger, we want. We want that cell. We want to make it, right? And I'm not saying that's bad, but once you have made it, you have to sit back and say, why did I make it? And we made it. You are making it because of the relationship, because of the credibility. So if I want to be remembered, I'm a relationship person and I'm a person that has credibility.
Nice. Tom, my last question was where people can find you, how people can reach out to you, because maybe some of them want to learn more about the relationship and the networking, or others are just interested in investing in Brazil. So in both cases, where people can find you, Tom?
Well, the easiest place is on LinkedIn, and there's my name. It's TomReaoch, Tom Reaoch. Or I also have a link to Linktree, which is linktr.ee/Tom Reaoch. That's TomReaoch. Yeah. So if you find Tom Reaoch, if you can get the Tom part and get the Reaoch part, you'll find me. And if you want to connect and say, hey, I heard you on Dancho's podcast, and anyway, that helps me. All right. It helps us. It helps you. And as part of validating people who we meet.
Exactly. What I'm going to do, Tom, is that right below the video, I'm just going to put the Linktree and your LinkedIn profile. So whoever wants to reach out, they can just click on the link and say, hi, Tom. And
or call you and you'll tell them, right?
Of course. That's the relationship, right?
That's it.
And Tom, in closure, I just wanted to summarize, because after every podcast that we record, it is really one lesson at a time, because I personally also enjoy this kind of podcast. And as I'm listening to you, I'm taking notes as you talk. So I actually was able to extract not one, but several lessons from this podcast. And I wanted to share with everybody in case someone missed something, or maybe someone catch something else that I missed.
Please.
But I have 5 or 6 different lessons from this podcast. First one is learning to adjust. If you don't adjust, you're going to suffer a lot. You adjust from cold to warm, but it's even in business. It's not like this is how it's done always. You have to adjust. Second is don't personify a company, because it's really like Dancho from BizB, but Dancho can sell BizB, open a different company and sell that one, and then open a third one, or even switch between jobs. And at the end of the day, if you have a good relationship with Dancho, wherever they move into a different company, you already have a new client because they know that you're good. And we have the same case. BizB is like 6 years on the market already. And we're just going to call a person that worked in that company and then move to another one. And now they want to continue working with us. And that is exactly what you said. Well, if you have a good relationship with the person, not with the company, that person will keep the relationship wherever they go in whatever company. So that was another one. Number 3 was networking is relationship building. So we preach that, but still people forget that networking is not just how big your email list is, but the quality of how good you know with them and how frequently communicate. So relationship building takes effort and time. It's not like I'll just buy 100,000 emails and there you go, I have a network. No, you just have a list. Networking is the relationship where people first will be glad to hear from you, because it's like, this Dancho again, he's going to bother me. He's going to sell me some pyramid scheme again. Number 4 was the tactical and the strategic part of networking. I mean, it's good that when we talk about networking to have an idea that, okay, is this a tactical approach or is this strategic approach? Because if it's strategic, then you really need to look for allies and more smarter ways how to connect with a person, rather than tactical is just an opportunity presented itself. You're just introducing yourself. And the last part was about the credibility, trustworthy, and thought leadership. And that you aligning yourself with the associations, with you by doing the podcast and start creating content as a thought leadership is actually making a thought leader. And thought leader, you start attracting people toward you rather than just chasing them if they are interested. You're actually starting to attract people towards you. And that is also a very good way when someone reaches out to you, they already know you. They've seen your podcast, your posts on LinkedIn. So it's no longer, they don't feel like they're talking to a stranger, but it's like, Tom, I've actually heard 5 podcasts from here and I would love to talk with him. Mm-hmm. So that takes the relationship on a completely different level. Those were the 6 lessons I got, Tom. And that's why I told you I'm the student here and I really enjoyed. And I wanted to thank you for the opportunity to listen about the networking. And I really hope that everybody else that are on the podcast also enjoyed listening. And whoever is actually interested, feel free to reach out to Tom. And I really hope that Tom will figure out a way to help you and actually even grow the network further.
Very good. But I just want to add on, of all that you mentioned and written down, it goes to what I mentioned. It's always an ongoing lesson.
Yeah.
And networking is work.
Yeah, network. Nice one. Tom, thank you very much again. And for the rest of you guys, have a great day and stay tuned as long as we find a new lesson that is for you guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.